You grow up in Westeros hearing the ancient legends, the Night's Watch, the noble, sworn brothers dressed in black, standing as the stalwart shield that guards the realms of men against the mysterious terrors of the far north. It sounds honorable. It sounds vital. It sounds like a place where a man could forge a legacy. Let me stop you right there. Because unless your name is Jon Snow, being a man of the Night's Watch was quite possibly the worst fate you could suffer in the Seven Kingdoms without actually being flayed alive by a Bolton. It wasn't a noble calling. It was a frozen, celibate prison sentence at the edge of the world. First off, let's talk about how you got there. A tiny fraction of you are high-born nobles who joined for honor, or maybe because you were the useless fifth son of a lord who didn't want to split the inheritance. But the vast majority of you didn't choose the wall. The wall chose you, because the alternative was a hangman's noose. You are surrounded by poachers, thieves, rapists, and murderers dumped out of the dungeons of King's Landing. These aren't the Knights of the Round Table. Your new brothers are guys who would stab you in your sleep for a slightly thicker pair of woolen socks. The moment you arrive, the reality hits you faster than a snowball packed with ice. It is cold. Not, I need a jacket cold. It is a bone-deep, soul-crushing freeze that never, ever leaves you. You look up at the wall, 700 feet of weeping ice that blocks out half the sky. It doesn't look majestic. It looks like the biggest prison wall ever built. And then the trap snaps shut. You say the words, the vows, night gathers, and now my watch begins. Sounds poetic, right? Until you get to the fine print. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. This isn't a 4-year tour of duty. This is a life sentence. You just swore away your right to ever own property, to ever have a family, or to ever have sex again. You are legally dead to the rest of the world. And if you change your mind and try to run, the penalty for desertion is death by beheading. Welcome home. So, what is daily life like at Castle Black? It's a miserable routine of freezing and working. If you're unlucky enough to be sorted as a steward, congratulations. Your life is now about scrubbing pots full of burnt porridge and shoveling frozen horse manure out of the stables. If you're a builder, you spend your days hacking at ice and repairing rickety wooden walkways in sub-zero temperatures, hoping a gust of wind doesn't blow you 700 feet to your death. And the food? Get used to stale oatcakes, salted beef so hard it could break teeth, and watery stew that tastes suspiciously like old leather. You sleep in drafty barracks on straw mattresses that smell like 50 other unwashed men. But the real horror show is for the Rangers. These are the lucky guys whose job it is to go beyond the wall. Out there, the cold is actively trying to kill you. Frostbite is a constant companion. You'll likely lose a few toes or part of your nose within the first year, and you aren't alone out there. You are hunting the wildlings. Free folk who absolutely despise you and see your nice black cloak as a trophy. They are better at surviving out there than you are, and they will happily slit your throat for your boots. And of course, we have to mention the things the Watch doesn't want to admit exist. The White Walkers, the myths. You spend your ranging missions in a state of constant, paralyzing paranoia, wondering if that crunch in the snow is a wildling, a bear, or an ancient ice demon coming to turn you into a blue-eyed zombie. And how does it end for a brother of the Night's Watch? There is no retirement plan. There is no sunny villa in Dorne waiting for you after 20 years of service. You die. That's the retirement plan. Maybe you catch a wildling arrow in the neck during a raid. Maybe you fall off the winch elevator. Or maybe you just freeze to death quietly in your sleep one night because the fire went out. And when you're gone, nobody back in King's Landing cares. The lords down south think you're a joke, protecting them from imaginary grumpkins and snarks. You gave up your life, your name, and your future to freeze on a giant ice cube, only to be burned on a pyre so you don't come back as a white. So yeah, compared to the Night's Watch, being a peasant shoveling pig crap in the Riverlands starts to look pretty good.